My name is Dr. Peter Bloomfield, and I'm the convener for this presentation. The title of our presentation is Methodologies and Strategies for Sustainable Mental Health.
Recording in progress.
Mind-body approach. Again, my name is Peter Bloomfield, and I'm an emergency physician. I'm based out of Los Angeles. I work in academia, and I work in the community as an emergency physician, and I'm also here representing KAILASA Nityananda Hindu University. And we're very excited to give this presentation. If anyone has questions, you're free to ask in the chat. Just our time is a little bit tight, so if we're not able to get to your questions, we really strongly invite you to contact us afterwards. We're very excited about what we're talking about and what we're going to be presenting, and we're very happy to interact further. So this is the agenda of our presentation. We're going to have by Dr. Muktananda, who's an AI expert, is going to give an intro to mental health. Followed by that, I'm going to be giving a talk on studies that are both informed and very blissfully relaxed. That will be our goal. If we achieve that, we've met our goals. Then Dr. Aranke, who's a practicing neurologist, who's connected with the Chandeshwara Paramashiva Hindu Temple in Houston, and Dr. Sandeep Pandov, who's a hospitalist connected with Johns Hopkins, Howard County, and Dr. Nirmala Shivaji, who's a practicing anesthesiologist, who's connected with Nityananda Meditation Academy, are going to be giving a talk on neuroscientific approach to mental health, and then who's a urogynecologist at the Women's Health Excellence Center. She's going to talk about women's mental health issues. Then Dr. Patel, who's a psychiatrist who's representing KAILASA Los Angeles and also practicing in the community, is going to talk about mental health and children's issues. And then finally, I'll give a conclusion and a call to action. And for everyone who is able to stay, we're going to have a kriya, which is a technique for stress reduction. That'll be really nice. So it should be a very enriching and enlightening experience for everyone. And we're very happy to have you here. Briefly, this Science Summit is geared at how we can bring new scientific innovations to help the UN achieve its sustainable development globally. So we think it's very perfectly aligned with this summit, and we're extremely grateful to the UN General Assembly for organizing this and for having us here. Just a couple estimates, 2.5 to 5 trillion US dollars annual cost of mental health. That's looking at direct costs of clinical care and hospitalization, as well as indirect costs of lost work. And I'm going to posit that the cost of less than optimal mental health is so much higher in terms of lost potential.
Field, really appreciate it. And thank you for inviting us to participate in this session. We wanted to give a sense of what we mean by mental health. This definition of mental health is taken straight from the UN to emphasize that mental health is not just short-term, but it's also long-term. And part of our presentation today is going to focus on the long term, right? So there are three aspects to mental health. One is treating after the problem has happened, but two important parts of it are being preventative and also enhancing mental health. We'll talk about it briefly. Mental health is people the most. When we normally think of treating mental health, the traditional approach tends to be very much focused on treatment, which is after the fact and super expensive. And it tends to focus on emotional, psychological, and social aspects, the source of emotions, address the mind-body system as a whole. And Dr. Peter is going to talk about, have an entire session on how to address the mind-body system. Instead of just controlling thoughts, address beliefs. I think transforming our beliefs from life negative cognitions to positive life, and we do not have these incompletions. It gives us more freedom, and we do not have these incompletions. It gives us more freedom, more empowerment in the present moment, so that we can reach our full potential in the future. A key part of this is having powerful cognitions. Part of this is having powerful cognitions, which are deep insights about yourself and the world that help you unlock your true potential. Insights about yourself and the world that help you unlock your true potential by breaking free from limiting patterns. Let's look at this a little bit more in the next slide. So, cycle. But very honestly, we are capable of extraordinary cycle. But very honestly, we are capable of extraordinary achievements. In fact, if you look at the scriptures like the science of enlightenment, as a scripture, there is one part which is like talks about extraordinary potentials, like even.
This section is titled Qualitative and Quantitative Studies of Mind-Body Approach to Mental Health. And we love your questions and welcome them. Please feel free to put them. We're also, time is moving quickly, so we're going to have to move fast. We have a lot to cover. So this presentation is brought to you by Nityananda Hindu University. I'm representing the research department of Nityananda Hindu University. And this is a university that is styled after the ancient Vedic, ancient Hindu. Starting from birth as a yogi, he has achieved high consciousness and enlightenment and incarnation status. And from that space, he has reestablished the United States of KAILASA, which is a Hindu civilizational nation in service to his schooling. And then he's literally millions and millions of followers, over 1 million letters of commendation and recognition from political leaders, religious leaders, and is a very, very indescribably remarkable figure. And through this talk, I'll be referring to Bhagavan Nityananda Parameshivam, some participants, which you'll see some remarkable findings. And then we're going to talk about what is going on in the mind and brain and consciousness of Supreme Pandit of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nityananda Parameshivam, who I also call as Swamiji. Some of them would have already been part of this enlightenment ecosystem, would have already known Swamiji, and some of them would have been new. And so the Dr. Rao, he drew blood and measured gene expression before and after the program. And they looked at hundreds of different genes being expressed, and they found huge changes in gene expression in multiple pathways. But the ones I'm going to highlight here are the pro-inflammatory pathways, which create inflammation in the system, which will, at the cellular level, be inflammation. Studied, they said, let's look at telomerase activity, and let's look at peripheral blood stem cells. Telomerase is an enzyme that works to keep the cell genetically young. And many people know about telomeres. It's been very much surrogate for cellular viability, which is specifically a product of mitochondrial metabolism. So mitochondria are the organelles inside the cell that create power for the cell, energy for the cell. And so their metabolism was increased. This is actually not a typo. You see it's 967%. It's not a typo, it's really true. Basically 10-fold increase in mitochondrial metabolism. So you would expect that to show up in a massive surge of energy. So when you put together at the cellular level, a huge surge in energy for the program. Some of the people in the program had already done similar programs and taken the initiations, and some people were new. So it was a combination. It was a convenient sample because it's through an online program. And then we did a paired and unpaired analysis. So here's what we found. So the total score, for US average, total score is around 18. A higher number means more depression, more anxiety, more stress. So you want a low score in this. For the participants, the score was already much lower than average initially, which may reflect that some people had taken initiations and were involved in this system and this mind-body approach. But afterwards, even greatly reduced. And stress as well went from 4 to 2 or 5 to 3. Over 14 is stress, and the US average is 8. You can see all these graphs on the left. You can see the line graphs is the paired, and then the bar graphs. Both paired and unpaired, highly statistically significant in all of these. So statistically and clinically very significant. And 5 out of the 9 met statistical significance. And they were also clinically significant. I just included a couple graphs here. The total score, you can see it's going up for just about everyone. And then social functioning is going up for just about everyone. So again, increased mental and physical health was seen. And the last one is mindfulness, the gene expression, and then these changes in mental health. So to better understand that, a lot of science has been done with Swamiji, the Supreme Pandit of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nityananda Parameshivam. So I'm going to talk about a few scientific studies. First one is done with, I'll go as quick as I can.
but it's so valuable and so important. I want to make sure we cover things. So Dr. Krishna at a Jim Thorpe Rehab Center in Oklahoma did PET scans and noticed heightened activity in the frontal lobe. They found complete control over brainwave activity. He could just control his brainwaves at will. There was another doctor, a neuroscientist named Acosta Urquida from Sound Health Designs in Wichita, and this was in 2005 and 2006. And they measured studied a variable called heart rate variability, which shows variability within the heart rate that reflects. He's a neurofeedback researcher who was looking at EEG. And he noticed when he got a baseline reading, he kept changing the probes and changing the settings because he said there's almost no activity on the EEG as baseline. Means when he was sitting there in a calm state, the brain was just completely quiet electrically. There was very little activity, which we will posit will correlate with a low thoughts per second, very little mental activity. That's a goal of Vedic traditions, yogic traditions, Hinduism, and they transmit it to someone they're healing or a disciple or any other person. Be like an initiation. It's putting them in the same brainwave state that's going to have profound. So again, it's a really remarkable thing. One thing that I'd also say is in the ashram, they've done again, when Swamiji is doing initiations to his disciples or people visiting his ashram as well, he puts their brain in gamma waves, high amplitude gamma waves, which is a very specific kind of gamma wave that's almost never seen. So real quick primer on brainwaves. Brainwaves is if you're like taking a quiz, doing a task, if you're at work doing a task that requires your mental activity, it's 13 to 25 hertz. So you'll notice this illustration doesn't have gamma waves. Part of that is because gamma waves, people didn't even know about them until relatively recently because you normally cannot see them on a normal EEG. They were normally detected with something called a QEEG, where you take a computer and look at the Alzheimer's dementia. And even in animal models, they've showed if they can induce gamma waves, the plaques and tangles that you see at the cellular level of dementia start to get cleaned up. So the idea is that gamma activity can prevent and possibly even treat Alzheimer's dementia. So if we're looking at Alzheimer's prevention, which is a huge global issue, what is even more exciting to me, and I've been personally had the opportunity to do EEGs. Some of his very high level disciples are developing this capacity, which means this level, which we're positing as a space of super consciousness, very high level of consciousness that correlates with concepts of enlightenment that have been talked about throughout history. This level, this capacity can be built in people and built in large groups of people over time. So this is raw data of an EEG of a very high level disciple of Swamiji, and you can see gamma activity is over 30 oscillations between these two. TPS is thoughts per second, means completely quiet mind. And their whole sense of space will be just completely spacious and unclutched. So we're really excited about this. I think it has tremendous significance for humanity on many levels. And we're excited to research it further. So we'll be on Sattvic diet and fasting later. Another presentation is going to talk about these things. Detoxing with herbs. Puja is a ritualistic connection to higher consciousness. Yoga pada, yoga and pranayamas and meditations and kriyas will be doing all of these experiential in this presentation. And then knowing pursuit of powerful cognitions means knowing yourself as a very powerful connected being that is worthy of having this life experience and can express this life experience. And one thing that I think is connected all throughout the world, Hindu diaspora, people who have come from Hindu civilizations or backgrounds and spread all over the world, they have extremely low rates of depression, divorce, and really high income, high productivity. And we think it relates to this lifestyle and the residue of this lifestyle in their system. So thank you so much for your listening. I complete for going a little over time.
Let's watch this video briefly. Go ahead, please play. Audio is not it's not audible, Peter.
Fight, destroy, play with anything thinking process in you. That's it. Do not create, sustain, maintain, fight with, try to destroy. Anyway, engage. Do not do anything with your. In few seconds, you will see you are not thinking process. You are beyond your thinking process. You will sit with yourself in a very matured way, highly matured way. Sit with yourself with highest, creating, maintaining, destroying, fighting, engaging, all thought process. Unclutch from all thought process. Just sit, be unclutched.
Use the word unclutch, and but after a little while you can just unclutch without using that word itself. You would see that. So just close your eyes. We're going to play music for a little bit, and then just keep unclutching. Every time a thought comes, just unclutch without engaging with it. Please play the music.
Are you able to hear it now?
No.
How about now?
Becomes more visible to you. Sometimes the blood pumping through your heart becomes more audible to you. Unclutch from those also. So there is a seed, as you hear things, those are also thoughts. They're triggering thoughts inside of you. So next time, just keep unclutching deeper and deeper, and you'll see this deep sense of silence coming in. So it's a great technique. You can try it anytime.
Plays a very important role in regulating mood and cognition, not only through activity of certain brain structures, but also pathways or circuits of communication between different brain regions are important. But the gut, in a sense, is the second brain. It has a very extensive nervous system called the enteric nervous system. And there's a communication between the brain and the digestive system, which is two-way, which is really important in mental health. And it turns out lifestyle. Many studies have been done on depression, looking actually at the brain structure. So we've seen that brain, like MRIs show that there's actually atrophy or loss of brain cells in important areas of the brain, areas which regulate memory, learning, and emotion, like the hippocampus, the prefrontal cortex, which is really important for attention, planning, judgment, impulse control, the orbital frontal cortex, which is important in regulating our emotions. And it's not only about us, but it's how we bond with other people, how we interact with others, so social attachments. It turns out pain processing pathways are negatively impacting depression. And one way is maybe the cingulate cortex. And even our ability to empathize with others are affected due to loss of brain cells in the cingulate cortex. Move on to the next slide. So what has been really, in a way, groundbreaking is that initially we thought that brain cells, we have a limited number of brain cells or neurons, and once they're gone, they're gone. But it turns out certain practices, especially yoga and meditation, can actually lead to neurogenesis. We're actually generating new to others, interact with others. All of these areas are very important for that, and these are enhanced with increased amount of brain cells in yoga practitioners. Very interestingly, there's an area of the brain called amygdala, and this is involved in processing. Now we can move on to what we found in practitioners of meditation. So they have been studied structurally, but also functionally. So we have functional MRI studies which look more than the brain structure. It looks at different areas of brain that are activated at during certain tasks, and may explain why many practitioners of meditation experience a sense of bliss during their meditation. Also, imaging studies have looked at the thickness of the cortex. This contains the brain cells or neurons, and it turns out they're thicker in various brain regions listed there. These are regions that are important for emotions. That meditators at baseline have a higher level of serotonin, and it in fact further increases after a meditation session, which is very interesting. They also tend to have a lower level of norepinephrine. This is a brain chemical associated with anxiety, and they've been shown to have increased amounts of dopamine as well. The dopamine is the brain chemical responsible for the feeling of pleasure or reward. And they showed there was a significant improvement in the amount of anxiety and depression that they were experiencing before and after, to the point where many were no longer depressed. And the GABA activity was boosted basically to the same level as people who were healthy and who did not have depression. So this is all very promising findings. You can move on to the next slide. I'll invite Dr. Pandav to discuss the next few slides.
So Dr. Pandav will discuss these slides quickly, and then we'll have a very short video and short discussion to follow. Thank you so much, Dr. Pandav.
So this is what whole food plant-based diet is. We also call it sattvic diet. So what essentially this diet does is, it is high in fiber, high in antioxidants, high in polyphenols. So basically what it does is, this just goes over a few things. Microbiome in the gut plays an important role in the gut-brain axis, as I talked about. And it produces neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, glutamate. And microbial composition is crucial. Some contribute to good mental health and others are detrimental and it names few of the bacteria. And also it has positive impact by regulating taurine, cortisol, metabolic pathways, and short chain fatty acids, reducing stress and anxiety. And last thing I already told, the whole food plant-based diet. The next slide.
Well, you can go very quickly over this, Pandav. I believe we have a video and then a discussion, so you can go very quickly.
Oh.
Inside your system along with it. There is no biomemory going inside. pure energy food, only that goes inside. But with the animal, the muscles have a capacity to store muscle memory and biomemory. So when the animals are killed, they leave a tremendous pain, suffering. They are not and die. That gets that gets recorded in that muscle memory and biomemory. When you eat that, you will fall into depression for a small
summary. We've seen that
depression for a small
summary. We've seen that the brain physiology, through functioning, structure, chemistry, and gut health are crucial for mental health. And lifestyle crucial for mental health. And lifestyle changes are critical. And sustainable, and objective scientific information now is available. Showing that yoga and meditation actually expands parts of the brain. Discuss how the Hindu lifestyle practices that Swamiji is promoting have made an impact in our mental well-being. And so maybe if we'd like to go ahead and start, maybe Dr. Bandav can talk about what is Nirahar Samyama and how his experience that he's had with that.
Sure. I always practice whole food plant-based diet. But through Swamiji, I came to know about Nirahar Samyama, which is really a step above that. So essentially, to a deep level, in the sense that you're not doing meditation, it is kind of happening to you. So it's a different state to be in. And I found this to be amazingly powerful technique. I think Dr. Shati, you may have also gone through this, and you can add further.
Yes, yes.
Shivaji had an experience that she maybe would like to share about Nirahara Samyama.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Shivaji, did you have an experience you wanted to share?
I think you're muted, Ma. Dr. Shivaji, you're muted.
Sorry. So sorry about it. So it's other than the other benefits of what you have said, mental clarity, and you're more happier every summer. Allergic.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I know there's so much more to talk about. We're going to talk about. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know there's so much more to talk about. We're going to talk about Aushadas Harataki, a very powerful detox herb that Swamiji. Aushadas Harataki, a very powerful detox herb that Swamiji has recommended for us. And then Nitya Yoga is a yoga that conceived by Swamiji that has 12 components, 12 aspects of yoga, which is very unique. And of course, other yogas are also part of this lifestyle. And so thank you so much.
In mental health, in physical and mental health. And part of changing lifestyle is not only practicing yoga, and unfortunately, we're not going to be practicing any of the yoga asanas today because it's difficult to demonstrate on this in this particular venue. But we can try a couple of pranayama so that your tongue is sticking out like this. And then deeply inhale through your tongue and then exhale through your nose, right? Like this. So inhale through your tongue and then exhale through your nose. You will see that this instantly, you will feel that How many of you feel that deep cooling happening? How many of you feel that deep cooling happening in your chest? In your chest. You actually feel it there, right there. You actually feel it there, right there. It's such an instantaneous, long to breathe out, then breathe in. So count in. So count breathing in. If you count breathing in 5 times, breathing in. If you count breathing in 5 times, breathe out till the count of 10. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Close your lips, or 7. That's also okay. Whatever makes you feel relaxed. Typically, breathing in, the alternate nostril breathing actually makes you feel quite relaxed. Okay? Let's move on to the last technique. The last technique is called Brahmari Pranayama. It's an amazing technique to clear your mind of anxiety-inducing thoughts. And Swamiji has given this reference. And when you do that, hum as long as possible. When you take another breath and hum again, very soon you will see that the hum is one continuous hum. You hardly notice the difference between one hum and the next. And you will start feeling, and that will intensify the hum because the sound hums inside your head. And very soon your hums inside your head. And very soon your entire head, your chest, your body will start humming along with you like this. Head, your chest, your body will start humming along with you like this. This humming is a very intense exercise. Great. So these are things you can practice pretty much anywhere. And these are all revived by Swamiji. Swamiji has taken all these ancient techniques and then put them in modern contexts. In fact, search for these techniques along with Swamiji's name. You will see a whole bunch of what are called kriya scale. And millions need help with anxiety, loneliness, and depression. But the primary challenge is lack of access to resources. And who suffer more often from mental health issues that, like we shared before, are the ones who are unable to access personalized without storing personal information. And if you have availability, like access to a phone, a smartphone, you probably can get access to these services. It can be as easy as accessing mail or WhatsApp, for example. And the beautiful thing is conversational AI can actually help address a wide variety. Amazing resource that is available to everyone. This uses the entire spiritual resources of the world, especially the teachings of Swamiji. Swamiji is essentially teaching the fundamentals of enlightenment science, or the science of happiness. You is under your control. Being integrated is all about being integrated to your thoughts and actions. Enriching is about making sure others are in this state of enlightenment along with you. And completion is what I defined before, right? So it uses these principles to help walk through someone who thinks they are a bad mother because they're not. You may not be able to spend too much time, but think about it as quality time. And also cultivating this idea of self-worth, which can lead to a challenge. So play again, press play again, please. And the final example is about facing stress and suggesting yoga and meditation techniques. If you can fast forward this, maybe 10 more seconds.
Health, wellness, and holistic approaches. It's my turn to talk about women's mental health issues, incident causes, solutions, and understanding the unique challenges and holistic approaches. The National Institute of Mental Health here shows stress, anxiety, and depression. Gender-based violence, women are more likely to experience domestic violence, sexual assault, and emotional abuse. Social pressures and roles, women often face societal expectations to fulfill multiple roles like caregiver, professional, and homemaker. and body image issues like living in the era of social media on beauty concepts and appearance leads to eating disorder, low self-esteem. It can be varying from psychotherapy to low self-esteem. It can be varying from psychotherapy to hospitalization. Depending on the severity of the mental illness, psychotherapy is mainly for the mild problems. It's called a talk therapy or counseling. And medications can be antidepressant, anti-anxiety medications, mood stabilizers, and antipsychotic. So many of these current treatments primarily focus on symptom management rather than addressing the underlying causes at different levels. In many parts of the world, access to mental health are very limited because it's very expensive. And social stigma around mental illnesses also prevent people to seek the treatment. So by knowing the different reasons for women's mental illness and also the available. The second one by His Divine Holiness Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashivam, his presidential address on November 7th. Policies are mapped to the Manuvati Dharma Shastra, and Swamiji revived matrilineal society to our women here. So the political empowerment. Paramashiva declares in Atharva Veda, women should take part in US dollars have been invested in women's health at KAILASA. This is very impressive, and again, a spirit core indigenous cultural aspect of Hinduism is being revived as part of KAILASA by Swamiji is the mother worship. The matrilineal society that used to exist in ancient Hindu nations. It's very important to KAILASA since 2009. Here are some 5, the most important I'm mentioning here. The KAILASA's Nityananda Lakshmi, the world's first Hindu microfinance project for women. Here it gives the economic freedom to find employment. KAILASA's Ankita program is an educational program. So it's mostly educate female child and women to empower them. And Nityananda's Women Foundation, it helps Indigenous women to become again to get financial freedom and emotional support. Let's hear from Swamiji, his powerful message and a description of a woman by him.
Energy can be given the word. Only feminine energy can be given the title sacred, because when it is awakened, it does so much in your. It would have been completely family-based civilization. So naturally, everybody would have had their basic needs. All the basic needs would have been supplied to the whole world. Only the feminine energy need to be awakened. Only that can be called as sacred. Let me define the sacred feminine. Understand? The extraordinary creativity.
And being there in women during their most sensitive time, pregnancy, delivery, taking care of all age group women. I want to share only after being part of the KAILASA, multiple initiations from Swamiji, the multi-dimension of myself that we realize, and also that I want to give an incident that Navaratri festival is coming. It's an annual Hindu festival. We celebrate Divine Mother energy for 9 nights, and I do pray to Parashakti and Divine Mother Energy to bless all women all over the world. Thank you.
Listen. Do completion 2-3 times. Sit with mirror. Actually, I tell you. If you sit with mirror, and chant Mahavakya and do completion, you will see me in the mirror, then all your patterns are complete. Me in the mirror, then all your patterns are complete. Till you see me in the mirror, do completion with the mirror. Me in the mirror, do completion with the mirror. Your form will disappear and my form will appear there. Till then, sit in front of me. Just sit in front of the mirror and declare simple integrity to me. Start chanting Mahavakya and remember this powerful cognition, today's cognition. Pen down all the incompletions, fears, anger, guilt, impossibility, patterns which tells you no, you need to be dependent internally, externally other than Paramashiva. Pen down all of that.
Talk about children and mental health issues.
Hello everyone. I'm Dr. Sailesh Patel. I'm a psychiatrist practicing in California. So as adult and women, children also have unique challenges for mental health. And we have the next slide. So I have here some of the personal and social changes, adversities such as poverty, abuse, exposure to violence, pressure to conform with peers, exploration of identity, and so forth. So can we have next slide? So based on this alarming other consciousness-based approaches which were discussed earlier, practiced on a regular basis, including yoga, meditation, and sattvic diet, Swamiji had given details how this Hindu education system promotes freedom to explore and be creative, and not force children into strict curriculum, and nor evaluate them for which Bender Gestalt test was performed. This test assesses visual motor skills, development, neurological functioning, and level of whole brain activation. This test is divided in 2 phases. First phase, copy phase. Students are first asked to copy 12 images of various complexity. This copy phase reflects the student's visual motor intelligence and maturity. In second phase, recall phase, students need to remember, fell into category of genius and very high superior intelligence, IQ score of 120 and above. So it shows very impressive numbers. Next category, intellectual maturity compared to exact age. And average intellectual age was 2.7 years ahead of chronological age. 83% of students were 1 to 6 years ahead of actual age, and 53% students were.
Thank you so much, Dr. Patel. And I'm going to very quickly do our conclusion. Thank you so much to everyone who's made it all the way through. After the conclusion, we're going to have a kriya, which we invite people to stay. It's a relaxation and stress reduction kriya. If you have to go on for any other UN sessions or anything else, Science Summit sessions or anything else, you're free to go, but we'd invite everyone else to be able to stay. But just briefly, it's our conclusion that this mind-body model that we in all the research we've published has been very remarkable, very outside of the ordinary findings. And we're very sure the more research we do, the more we're going to find things like this. So anyone who wants to collaborate, we'd love to talk to you. My email and Peter Bloomfield, my email, and Sri Mukta Ananda, his email as well. They're both posted at the bottom. Also, policymakers were chosen to see how we can bring this to the world to attain and achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals and bring higher possibilities of mental health and overall life and potential to the global community. So with that,
this energy circulation, that is when you start developing diseases and disorders and disturbances. Disease, disorders, disturbances expresses itself
different parts of the body. Let us take the example of a water tank. A water tank is a structure which stores water. This water is distributed to different places through the pipelines, which forms a circuit. The pipelines end in outlet taps, through which the water reaches the end users. Similarly, the Kundalini energy reaches the different parts of the body through the 72,000 nadis or energy channels. Let's say for energy flow is re-established, energy starts flowing and the disease is healed.
Now, if your body is put in certain position, that energy blockages get removed, acute route is aligned and energy is pumped, you are out of the disease. You are out of the disorder. You are free. These kriyas are not just ordinary asana, ordinary yoga postures, ordinary kumbhaka, ordinary pranayama. It is like two different chemicals. Separately, if you take, it may take 10 years for you to cure the disease. But mixed properly in certain combination, it's called mantra. Externally, when you listen, it's called chanting. So, mantra, internal verbalization. Fifth, chanting, external, the sound you are hearing. And sixth, now I am adding.
shall I start the music and then you'll announce the kriya?
Yes, one thing we learned. We're going to do that first. Then the second step is you sit in a special posture. Do we have the picture of that posture? There is a posture. I shared a picture yesterday. Do we have that in the slide?
This is the last slide.
The humming is something I already shared with you before. And so the third step is lie down, and in the bliss of the hum, the humming creates intense humming in your body. It creates an elevated feeling. Just lie down with that feeling and unclutch from everything. So I've taught you unclutching like before. We started off the session with it. I taught you that alternate nostril breathing, and I taught with your thumb, close your right nostril, start breathing in. Then close your left nostril and breathe out through your right nostril. Then breathe in through your right nostril and then breathe out through your left. Do this 21 times. Peter, if you can move to the next slide and show the posture. Please sit in this posture and then hum intensely. Just like we said before, just hum intensely sitting in this posture. Let's do this for a few minutes. You can play the music too, Peter. Thanks. You will start focusing. When you unclutch from that, you will start hearing your own body sound. Peter, you can pause the music. Thank you. Great. I hope you all experienced a wonderful, relaxed experience. Like, our goal was not only to provide you with the science, but also provide you with experiential understanding of what Swamiji is trying to do at a very surface level. I mean, there is a lot of depth to the meditation, mind, body, consciousness studies. But we just wanted to share some experiential, some experiences with you, so you can.
For people to join the Paramashivaham program or contact us at Nityananda Hindu University about research collaborations, funding collaborations, anything that you want to collaborate with. And we really believe that this